Welcome back here to My Name Mike on YouTube. Once again, if you guys like the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. We are live here at the PRI Trade Show as we get set for the 2024 off season going into the 2025 season. Some big announcements have been made today, and there's going to be a lot more coming out tomorrow and Saturday. So if you want to keep up with what's going on, be sure to subscribe today to the channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So day one of the PRI Trade Show for 2024 has just about wrapped up. A huge announcement has just been made by the NHRA, which is the NHRA will be returning to the Peach State of Georgia as they will be making their first visit for the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series to Southern Georgia Motorsports Park. It will be an exhibition event called the Peach State Showcase of Speed, and it will feature drivers from all four of the pro categories of the NHRA, being Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, and Pro Stock Motorcycle. It is going to be a huge event for not only the NHRA but Southern Georgia Motorsports Park as it brings them back into the Southeast, which is a region that they used to have a large stronghold in with tracks like Atlanta and down in New Orleans for the Cajun Nationals. Now all we have is about Z-Max Dragway and Gainesville Raceway. So to bring NHRA back to the state of Georgia is a huge deal, and this looks to hopefully open some opportunities to bring a national event to Valdosta. We are able to talk to Raul Torres and Bill Bader, who is going to be teaming up with them. If you know Bill Bader, the owner of Summit Motorsports Park out in Norwalk, Ohio, and of course host of the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals, or the more famous Night Under Fire. So if you know the showman that is Bill Bader, incredible guy to team up with for an event, probably one of the greatest showmen in all of drag racing, who knows how to put on an event that is sure enough to excite the fans and keep them coming out for years to come. There's a reason why it's almost 50 years old. We had an opportunity to talk with not only Raul Torres, also Bill Bader, and NHRA President Glenn Cromwell about this historic announcement to bring NHRA back to the Peach State. First, we're here with Raul from South Georgia Motorsports Park. He just made a huge announcement for the 2025 NHRA season. Kind of go over what's the news has just been and kind of talk about what it means to you to get to bring NHRA to South Georgia.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know what it looked like from down here, but I'm jumping out of my socks. We're extremely excited, very emotional to have the opportunity. Like I told someone earlier, it's like a college graduate getting the opportunity to play in the big leagues right off the bat. We've only owned the facility for 16 months, but everyone has noticed the little changes we've made. They're on board. We're very community-oriented, and this is for them. This is for those that have been coming to SGMP for 22 years and that have never had these, the names that these guys are going to bring over to South Georgia. They've never had the opportunity to come see them and stand next to them and get an autograph and hear them go down the racetrack. I mean, who doesn't enjoy watching the nitro car going down the drag strip? And you'll never forget your first one. So we're extremely excited. We're very happy for the community. They deserve it, and we're certainly going to blow this out of the park, I promise.
NHRA, they used to have such a strong foothold in the Southeast market. Atlanta Dragway was such a huge event. There was always questions about whether or not South Georgia could get a national event or even an NHRA event, and to pull something off like this and work with the town to get it done, just kind of take us through the process of getting this kind of program together to where you can bring the dragsters back up to the Peach State.
Well, I contribute a lot of the success to Ozzie Moya, Maria Moya, and Donald Long. Everyone knows South Georgia, and in a couple of weeks here, we'll have 12,000 guests at our facility. So that's prepared me and prepared our staff for a national event or an event of this caliber, like the Showcase of Speed. So they passed the baton to me, and all I've done really is run with it. And I'm blessed to have, be in the opportunity to do that. We've made a couple of changes to make adjustments and grow, and Cody Savage, our division director, has been nothing short of phenomenal as well. From the get-go, I've shared my vision, and what's funny is, I guess they see through me. They see how passionate we are about the industry, and they're on board. They found something, like maybe let's call it a diamond in the rough, to where they could polish it and make it to what may lead to a national event. But that's not cut this short of exactly what this is. This showcase is just as exciting as a national event. We're going to prove to the world what South Georgia is about.
And would you say that this maybe is going to be you dipping your toes in the water to see whether or not NHRA would want to make this a national event, or whether or not you guys are able to make this a national event? Is this kind of a test run to see if that's possible, or are you just kind of happy where you're at right now?
I'm never happy with where I'm at. I was born on dirt floors, and I've been a fighter my entire life, and so is my wife. She's given up the medical industry to help me run the racetrack, and this is this is the vision here is to have a national event. Again, not to downplay the showcase of speed, because it's going to bring those caliber of drivers and teams to our facility, but we want the best of the best. I partner with Bill Bader, and we brought him in on board to help us with this event here, and that's what we do. In every business I've owned, we've partnered with the best in the industry to be able to thrive, because we know we're just one person or two people trying to run a race, and that's impossible to do it with my wife and myself. So with the help of the community, our staff, our previous partners, and our associates, we've been able to get to this point and continue to grow it. So stand by. Hopefully, in a year from now, we'll be talking about bigger and more exciting things as well at SGMP. But the national event certainly is within reach once we prove ourselves at this showcase of stars.
And you mentioned working with Bill Bader, one of the great showmen of drag racing right now, especially with the 9 Under Fire. The guy is a maniac, just to put it lightly. What's it been like in the first few months working with him to get this program together? Just kind of describe what kind of personality and what kind of ideas he brings to an event like this.
I finally found someone that works a little bit harder than I do in this industry. Bill, I think, works about 100 hours a week. I'm close to that, and it's strange. The more I get to know him, the more it sounds like if I'm speaking to myself, and he feels the same way. We have very similar views, very similar values. I've gravitated to Bill for whatever reason from the get-go. As a matter of fact, we paid him a visit. We're at Night Under Fire this year in August. My wife and I made a trip to Norwalk and enjoyed it. And seeing that event made me realize there's more people in the industry that have the same vision, the same enthusiasm that we've got, and it's comforting to know that. And again, everyone across the board, from Josh Peterson to Rob Parks, Cody Savage, they've been nothing but an asset from the NHRA. They want us all to thrive. They know we depend on one another. I depend on racers. Racers depend on me. Sponsors, need to expose their products. Racers come to our facility to break their products, go back, and buy more parts. So we help one another. This industry could continue to thrive, and I see it headed in the right direction. I'm very enthused as to what the future holds in drag racing. It's very encouraging, to say the least.
And then last question, there's going to be fans from all over the Southeast that have not been able to go to a drag race in the past few years, with tracks like Atlanta Dragway closing. What would your message be to those fans that may have to travel the 10 plus hours to go to an event? What would your message be to them to try to get them to make that trip to come out to South Georgia?
If they don't have the time of their lives, I'll give them their money back. 229-896-7000. I promise you, they're going to have the time of their lives. We're going to make this a festival of speed. This is going to be an exciting 2-day event, and I promise them. And if they feel otherwise, I will refund them 100%. No ands, ifs, or buts.
All right, we're standing here with Bill Bader, probably the greatest showman in all of drag racing. You just made a huge announcement. You're partnering with South Georgia Motorsports Park to bring drag racing and nitro racing back to the Peach State. Kind of talk about how important of a moment this is for you to get to expand the kind of stuff that you've brought to Norwalk back down to the Peach State of Georgia.
Well, first of all, I feel very privileged and very honored. I'm excited. Do I look at you or the camera?
You look at the camera.
Okay, all right. I'm really excited. I'm excited for Raul. I'm excited for his wife. I'm excited for motorsports fans in the Peach State, because I think this is a wonderful opportunity to take the most exciting live audience, quickest and fastest accelerating motorsport on the planet to a completely new market, to introduce fans. They're going to get to see a wonderful selection of the very best from the Mission Foods NHRA Drag Racing Series, and we get to blow stuff up. We've got fireworks and all kinds of cool pyrotechnics, and we're going to add some lions and tigers and bears to all that. And the goal is to create a wonderful family entertainment event at South Georgia Motorsports Park. Raul and his team are very committed, very passionate, very proud people. And for me, I'm just proud to be a part of it. And we get to take a little bit of what we've been doing in Summit Motorsports Park in Northern Ohio and take it on the road and entertain people with it. And what a great opportunity that is.
You talked about, getting to bring the Summit Motorsports Park down to South Georgia. We've been to South Summit Motorsports Park before, and we've seen the fan engagement that you're able to bring out there, how good of an experience fans are able to have with the vendors that you have there, and all the stuff that you do with the track officials wearing the suits, everything in between. I talked to Raul, and he said you're one of the only few people that he's met that works harder than him. In the first few months you've been with him, kind of talk about what it's like getting to work with him and brainstorm with him to make this event on a similar level to what Night Under Fire has brought to the Midwest in the past 40 years.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Raul Torres and his wife and his team, they work really hard. I can call him at any hour. I call him early in the morning. I call him late at night. I think the other night I talked to him at 9:30, and I called him, and he answered the phone, and I thought, okay, this guy works the way I work. I will say this. He and I are very like-minded in a multitude of ways. He is so proud of the opportunity to bring this event to his facility for his fans, for his sponsors, for the community, for the state. And you just got to kind of love that guy. I just love working with him. I love his passion. I love his professionalism. I love his dedication to his fan base. And I can tell you, working with him, I'm sure we're going to have our moments because I'm pretty high-strung. I don't think that's a secret. But this guy wants it right. At the end of the day, he wants it right. He's going to do the work. And what more could you ask for?
And he also mentioned the desire to bring a national event to Southern Georgia Motorsports Park. That's a similar kind of feeling to what I got when I heard your story, trying to bring NHRA to Norwalk, Ohio. You've experienced those challenges of trying to convince the NHRA of bringing the national events to your facilities. How is it going to help working with a guy that is like-minded with you, that wants to do the same exact thing to try and bring NHRA to a market that hasn't been able to experience that in a couple of good years?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I can provide somewhat of a roadmap for him. There was no roadmap for me. Everything I was doing for the very first time. And quite honestly, I wasn't able to share that with my dad because he was the president of IHRA. So there wasn't really a roadmap, and I kind of felt my way, and we made some mistakes. We did a lot of things really well, but we did some things that we should have and could have done better. And so hopefully I can bring some of that experience. It's hard to believe that in 2025 we'll actually be an NHRA member track and the proud home of the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals and the Cavalcade of Stars for 19 years. And we're coming on 20 years of being part of the NHRA family, and that's a move I will never regret making. Quite the contrary. I am so proud, and I'm just so glad I made that move when I did. And hopefully I can bring a little bit of expertise and help smooth out some of the bumps to Raul and his team.
And then last question, you being the showman that you are, you know how to sell these events. There's going to be fans from states like Mississippi and Alabama and South Carolina and Kentucky that haven't been able to go out and experience these national events for the past 2 years, and they're going to have to make a long drive to go all the way down to South Georgia. What would be your message to those fans to convince them to go and make that drive, to go experience a race like this?
As honest and as sincerely as I can deliver this to fans from all over that part of the country, all over the South, make the journey, buy the ticket, make the investment. You will not be disappointed.
All right, Senator Glenn Cromwell, all right, you just made a huge announcement. You're bringing NHRA back to the state of Georgia. Just kind of go over this event and what does it mean for the NHRA to get to go back to the Peach State for the first time in, I believe, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, so, you know what, we're excited, to bring a really cool concept down to South Georgia is great. And it's, as I sit on stage, the NHRA Showcase of Speed is really it's a sample size of the Mission Foods Drag Racing Series event. And it's going to bring the superstars to this track and show what NHRA is about. And to bring that to an event down in South Georgia, Raul's going to do a great job. So this is a big deal. It's a big deal for the NHRA. It's a big deal for our member track. And it's a big deal for our superstars of the NHRA.
You know, this has been a work in progress for a while. Fans have speculated whether or not South Georgia could be an NHRA event, whether national event or not, but there's been so many outside forces preventing that. What was it like working with Raul and the city of Valdosta to try and get an event like this into South Georgia Motorsports Park to bring night racing?
It's been incredible. You know, we talked about a lot of different tracks that could do something like this, and we quickly realized, talking to Raul, that he was at the top. He was the top. He had the support locally, and I mean, you listen to him. I mean, what a stand-up person. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better person to bring a new event to and do it, and test it. I mean, we're going to test this market. I think we're going to blow this thing out. I think it's going to be a sellout 2 days.
You know, the NHRA in the Southeast used to have such a hard presence, but now it's stuck between Gainesville and Charlotte. There's talks of, South Georgia, whether or not they could be a national event, then tracks like No Problem in Louisiana trying to get themselves up to national event standards. How important is a race like this to try and reach that foothold to get back into that Southeast market once again?
Well, and I think that's really part of the strategy around this event, right? I mean, could we get a national event down in South Georgia? Possibly. You know what? No Problem Raceway. We've got Boise over in Idaho. This is what's so cool about this event, is the opportunity that could present in the future for our member tracks to elevate from, a mid-level event all the way to a national event. So it's good. We're excited. We're excited.
And then what would your message be to those fans that would have to travel out of state, like people in Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, even out in the Bamas and Georgias, to try and come out and travel the distance to go to an event like this?
Come see the fastest motorsports in the world. It's the most incredible sensory experience you'll ever live in your life. And, and I know we're all part of the motorsports world, whether it's IndyCar, NASCAR, NHRA, but you come to our event, it'll be the most unbelievable experience you've ever experienced in your life.
Of course, with this being the PRI Trade Show, that was not the only announcement made today. It was announced today, but also yesterday, because of the fact they posted on social media for whatever reason, Blake Alexander will be starting his own team, starting an alliance with Chad Green Racing, who will run a part-time schedule in 2025. He'll run a split schedule with Chad's son, Hunter Green, who's going to be making his debut in a funny car. So any races that Blake's not able to run because of sponsors, Chad's going to fill in if he can. They're not going to be looking to start at Gainesville. They said they're going to be looking to start the season out in Arizona when they go to Firebird Raceway for the second race of the season, and then from then on, it's going to look like a familiar schedule, according to Blake, for what you see for the past few years with what he runs. Other news that has been made today, NAPA announced that they will become the official auto store of the NHRA. Huge announcement for not only NAPA, but also Ron Capps, who is looking to enter about, I believe, year 18 of his deal with NAPA Auto Parts. We had a chance to talk to him about this announcement and what it means to him to be able to bring NAPA as an official sponsor into the NHRA. All right, Ron, you just announced that NAPA is going to be the official auto partner of the NHRA. That's a huge announcement for you and NAPA as a whole. Just kind of talk about what that means.
Yeah, it's actually a first, which I didn't know this morning, that NAPA's never done in any motorsport been the official auto parts like they've chosen to do with NHRA. This is my 17th year representing NAPA going into 2025, so it's a huge feather in the cap, believe me, for NHRA to have somebody like NAPA Auto Parts. 100 years old, NAPA is this year, 2025, so we got a lot of fun stuff with them, but to be the official auto parts is awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun to have the fans more involved.
Like Brian Lones mentioned during the press release, you and NAPA have been synonymous, like you said. You've been almost 20 years with this program. It's almost impossible to live without you. In motorsports right now, major corporations like this, they're looking for a way out. NAPA's now cementing their foot and staying in this even further. Just talk about the significance of that, of having a partner like that that's just so dedicated to wanting to stay in the sport like this.
Well, I think it bodes well for NHRA and our fans. They know how loyal they are. They understand NHRA is the largest membership of any motorsport in the country, so it's kind of a no-brainer. It really is when you stand back and look at it. But the first time they mentioned it, I was blown away. I'm like, how cool would it be to have them involved like at that level? And even cooler was the YES program. You've probably all close to 4,000 kids through the YES program every race. So the chance that I get to, because I was a kid growing up, same way in NHRA, but the chance for me to be able to talk with these kids that are looking for an occupation and a way to go when you're done with high school, what are you going to do in life, and show them that you can be a technician, you can choose your path, and to help them do that is huge. So I'm definitely pumped up for the YES program.
And in the funny car class as well, you know, it's just been so lethal the past few years, especially now with the rise of Austin Proc. Just about every team, if they haven't already, is tearing down their program to the bare bones, rebuilding it, just trying to catch up to this guys. Over the course of the offseason, you know, what kind of things are you looking at to try and get this team back to that championship level that it was at?
Well, I think we showed at Pomona, we went to the #1 spot in the track record on Saturday's run, and that's what Guido had been working on. I mean, we got to 3rd place, which is pretty incredible when you consider where we started the playoffs this year. And the goal was to be where we were at Pomona, but a little sooner, and Guido did that throughout the whole countdown championship. So I feel much better going into preseason testing in Bradenton and Gainesville with the setup that we have now than where we were last year when Guido felt like we had to get ahead of the game. And obviously Austin Proc and Jimmy and that whole team, they're going to be tough again, but I think we've got the team to do it.
Last question, you know, usually when a driver has a sponsor on their car, the pressure's already there to perform. Now to have them as an official partner, does that add just a little bit more pressure to you?
It does, yeah. But it makes me proud, you know, to have that involvement beyond our team. But I think I've always kind of fed off that kind of pressure, you know, as a driver, and then now as a team owner, I try to do the best that I can as a team owner. The fun part's getting in the car and driving and trying to focus, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun for not just me to help spread the word, but now I have the involvement with NAPA at every event and off track, so I think it's going to be awesome.
And lastly, there was an announcement from Josh Hart. They announced that he will become a Snap-on team associate along with Cruz Pedregon. It's not going to be a team alliance or anything like that, but a huge announcement for Josh Hart, as very well known, did not have the season he was looking for. DNQ'd back at Norwalk, had a bit of a rebound in the second half of the season, but now where he wants to be. We had an opportunity to talk to Josh Hart, ask him about how big of a deal this is for him to bring Snap-on board and what he's looking forward to in 2025. All right, Josh, so you're here at PRI. You're going to make an announcement with the NHRA, but you kind of want to give us a little bit of insight of what that might be?
100%. You know, we're here. PRI is always awesome, minus the cold weather. It used to be in Orlando, which I was super grateful for. But, you know, glad to make the trip. It's always a great show. We're proud to announce that Snap-on's coming on board. So big news for our team, you know. R&L's staying on, and TechNet's good for at least another year, so very blessed.
And for a team like yours, we don't have major manufacturer sponsors, and you're able to get the brands like R&L, Snap-on, and TechNet to jump on board and get behind you guys. How important is that for a group like yours that's trying to get up to that top level teams that out here with the Toyota and the Dodge and the Chevrolet backing?
Yeah, it's priceless. You know, everybody thinks that, you know, you're fully funded, and these race cars run on money, so anything helps. Those names are names that we truly believe in. There's no smoke and mirrors. We use those products inside of my company, which is Bernie's Speed Shop. So we're proud to represent with R&L Carriers, the TechNet brand, and now Snap-on.
And I was told that Bernie's is also going to be stepping up their involvement on your car as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. This is our first step on the national stage, kind of highlighting one of our cars. It's right here in the booth at PRI. So we've got a 67 Lincoln that will be ultimately auctioned off. We're going to take it to the Mecum show in Kissimmee in January. So.
And you know, you as well as many other teams in the funny car rings and the top fuel rings are kind of in that rebuilding phase to try and get yourself back up to those winning ways that you experienced in years past. You know, the funny car teams are doing it to try and catch up to Prague. You're doing it to try and get rid of those first round losses you experienced this year. Can you kind of give us some insight on what those changes might be in the offseason so you can go into 2025 and try and win Gainesville once again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we brought in Jake McCulloch. We're extremely happy about that. We're going to give him a shot to be on an A car. You know, and it's okay. We just struggled all 2024. You know, we ran out of the parts that we knew. We replaced them with new parts and couldn't quite wrestle the learning curve as quickly as we had hoped.
All right, and then for the rest of PRI in the offseason, what plans you got going on back at home?
Staying home. Yeah, like I'm a family man. I enjoy spending time with my family, and the rigors of travel and stuff kind of caught up to me. So I'm excited to be home. We've got an amazing business expansion plan that we're getting ready to announce for Bernie's. So very proud of that, but mainly just focus on my family, finances, and fitness.
So that's going to wrap up our content here for day one of the PRI Trade Show. We'll be back again tomorrow. I can't give you the specifics on the announcement, but I know one that is coming out, and it is sure going to make headlines around not only the drag racing world, but the motorsports world as well. So if you want to know what that announcement is going to be, subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of the upcoming announcements made this week. We'll be live here again tomorrow for day 2 of the PRI Trade Show, and then we'll get ready for the off season getting into 2025. Be sure to follow me on all social media pages down below. Mighty Mac 03 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you think of NHRA going back to Georgia. And until Friday afternoon, this has been Mighty Mac. We'll see you next time.